What should I do? How should I behave? How should I dress? Have you ever realized that these rules that sound like the one given by your parents are actually the one you will find in a work environment? Let's imagine a workplace with no constraint. What would it look like? Would it be chaotic? Or would it be just an opportunity for people to be the real themselves? Let's explore a work environment that values collaboration, diversity, and self-performance. Let me share with you my entrepreneurial experience, which is more wonderful human experience, where we lead to kill out hierarchy, but not the leadership. We started a company in 2013 after a sad story. Indeed, we were the executive committee of a Swiss company that has been sold to a foreign company. We were shareholders, but not significant enough to turn the transaction the other way around. The problem was not the sale of the company. The problem was that we were not aligned with the value of the new majority shareholders. So we decided to quit. And we promised to ourselves that we want something totally different for us and for our future employees. We started by defining our values. And our values will be the absolute guide in our decision-making process. If a decision is not aligned with one of our values, it has not to be taken. No more question. The main value out of 4 is pleasure. I confess it's not really a value, but it was very important for us to have pleasure for working. And if someone is driven by the pleasure of work, he will be more performing. He will be less absent, and more importantly, he will be nicer to work with. So this was a strong commitment for us. We should make everything possible to have the pleasure of work. So we had a quite ambitious business plan who leads us to hire a lot of people. After 3 months, we welcomed 11 new employees, and 3 months later, we were already 25 people working together. Everything was working perfectly somehow. We defined some basic rules. We could work from anywhere. We can define our own working schedule, choose what percentage of work we would like. We can even change it during the year. And we can dress the way we want, which was actually quite a game changer in our industry 10 years ago. Even if there was no hierarchy, we were actually an executive committee, and there was at least 2 or 3 hierarchical levels. It was flat, but there was still hierarchy. So it was already a discussion. And let me share with you what I've learned during my previous work experience about hierarchy. In a more traditional organization, if you're good at what you've been hired for, there is a chance that you get promoted. There is a chance that you get even promoted to a manager level. What does it mean? It means that you will have to do a bit less of what you're good at, manage people, and manage budget. But there is a chance that you're not good at managing budget, or dealing with budget, or even both. So it means that in the end, because you're performing well, you will do less what you're good at. Does this really make sense? For us, not. So that's why we had to think about a different solution. Our growth was quite strong. We were hiring people every month. 3 years later, we were 65 people working all together. And we reached a stage where we face communication issues. We reached a stage where we face motivation issues. We were somehow losing the feeling of belonging, and our people were losing the pleasure of work. As it wasn't the most important thing for us, the pleasure of work, we asked our people to provide us with a list of what was bringing pleasure and what was killing pleasure. And I can perfectly remember this meeting we had with the existing executive committee we were, analyzing the list of pains. We quickly realized that we, the executive committee, were not the good ones to find solutions. We could obviously propose some solutions, but there is a chance that we did not consider the issues the way we should. So who were the most relevant ones to take decision, to propose solutions? Probably the one facing it. That's why we decided to build what we call a happiness team, where people can work during their working hours to kill their working pains. We didn't realize that actually this was the very first step of what would become the future management model of distributed authority. Let me give you a very simple example. One of the main issues raised by our people was the noise in the office. So we had a small group of people who decided to find solution to reduce noise. And as we wanted people to be empowered, to take the ownership, we decided to leave them the final decision, whatever it takes. And believe me, our finance director at the time was a bit apprehensive, saying, who is going to kill our company? So they get offers from office experts to reduce the noise, and I've seen the offers, and believe me, we would never have accepted these offers. And guess what? The team in charge decided on his own that it was actually too expensive. Exactly what we would have decided. So we realized how powerful was the opportunity to leave the opportunity to give the power to our people. So we decided to extend, to go a bit further, to extend our model to something new. We read books, we share a lot of best practice with companies who were more advanced than we were. And then we decided to turn on our organization into a role-based organization. This is our organization. So let me illustrate what it means. You will, split hierarchical responsibilities into roles, and each of these roles will be held by one or more people in the company. So people can decide whether they want to take a role or not. Because we were more looking for self-entrepreneurs than for employees. People who can take decisions, who can refuse others. People who can somehow define their own career path. So that's what we've done. There are some different reference model of distributed authority. The most famous one is called holacracy. So we decided to be trained to implement holacracy. And after the trainings, we came to the conclusion that it was not made for us. For two reasons. The first one, it was too rigid. And the second one, there were no formalized leadership roles. But wait, we don't want hierarchy, but we want leadership? Yes. We were convinced that to empower people, they need to be led and not directed, and this makes a big difference. As we had a pretty clear view of what should be our model, we defined our own, called leucocracy. In 2018, we celebrate the change by dissolving the executive committee and the end of hierarchy. So this year, we will celebrate 5 years without hierarchy. And we've gone through major challenge like COVID, and we've successfully gone through. So are we a perfect company? For sure not. We do face difficulties like others, maybe a bit less. So let me give you just one example. There is a risk to become what we call a burnout factory. Because when you entrust people with significant responsibilities, it's a powerful gesture of trust that can lead to wonderful outcomes. But on the other hand, you can have unexpected consequences if people push themselves beyond their limits, being overly involved, leading to mental health issues. So that's a very important concern we still have. We're working on it, and we have found solution. So, in conclusion, I would say that our experience is first and foremost a wonderful human experience. We are now more than 130 people working together with no hierarchy. All those people, they define our culture. Whatever the structure you put in place, the most important is the culture. And the culture is fed by your leadership. It will nurture, it will make it grow. So, think about raising leaders more than raising hierarchy. Thank you.